from Northwestern Ohio. YT. I may have to break that hat out, friend. You hear music and you hear me. Combo. Music's cooler. I swear to God, I'm just going to sit here like a rock. I'm not touching anything. Well, hey, folks, how goes it? I think we actually may have a functioning show. I'm going to have to go over to the comments here. Check it out. How the hell are we doing? A lot of you came over from Tony's place. Cool. We love Tony. Well, of course we love Tony. It goes without saying. You hear me loud and clear. Thank you, oh audio gods. Is the sound okay with the microphone over here? I'm scared to move it closer to my mouth because it may upset things. Any movement is dangerous. Better hat. Thank you for you folks who are on Tony's show. I came in with a surprise hat. I may surprise you guys some other time with it. I'm still kind of scared to move. I think I tossed it over to the side there. I don't know. Should I wear it? Should I do it? Ooh, raid. We like raids. Raids are good. I think Hal did one yesterday. Hal is pretty awesome. Wednesday. Wednesday's the day when I think we are both on, or he's on right before here, and he does it. So we'll have to figure out if Hal can. I don't know. We'll figure out other days how we can make that happen. I don't want to change the days I'm doing this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're pretty locked in. But Brad Polly, should I send a Dodgers hat? That's cold, man. You can if you want to, send a hat of the team that's won less than half as many World Series as the Yankees. And I believe there's only one against us 3 times, and we beat you the entire 50s and 2 or 3 in the 70s. Dude, I'm just having fun. But I stand up for my Yankees. Hope you're all doing well. I had to stop watching TYT. Yeah, it's getting really weird over there. I haven't had anything to do with them in over a decade. And I think they've lost their minds. And I'm actually probably going to have a rant on them soon because I feel like what I've seen from Jank is, I just, at this point, I think he's lost his complete ethical bearing and is just grifting, which is really sad. There are other people on the left who have gone that route. And I mean, guess there's a lot of money over there. Who knows? You may end up with a deal with Teneo or whatever the hell it was called, media. But how pathetic. And I was a contributor there. You should all know that was the first regular gig. I was on MSNBC and Fox I used to go on, but the first regular gig I ever had on a YouTube show was on the Young Turks, Republican Sexcapades, which I used to do back, 3 or 4 years. We did those segments, and Jank was a friend, and Anna back then was a friend, and I don't know what the hell. I'm sorry. Once you've written a post that says that, and you've called it the Biden-McConnell administration, showing that you will simplify and demagogue about anything stupid and not acknowledge all the amazing things that Joe Biden did, from infrastructure to shots in arms to prescription drug prices with negotiations and the rest. Once you're saying dumb crap like that, and once you're sort of stepping up for and saying MAGA isn't my enemy, then kind of done. Show us your hat. Okay, you want me to show you? Because the truth is that if I lose the Kelly Star, thank you. And look, I'm above that too. If I lose the sound, it's your fault. Here we are. It's my TYT hat. Everybody love it? Can everybody still hear me? TYT cap looks new. Here's my crazy Iggy Pop hair. I can get a haircut probably today. There we go. There's my TYT hat. Pretty sexy, isn't it? You said it's new? It's because I never wear it. It was in the back of a closet and I found it. Yeah, I can't wear that. That insults me. I will while I do my rant on them. You know what? I'm going to promise you I need to. So we're going to cover that next week starting on Tuesday. Right now, I'm just going to do a quick rant on the LA wildfires. And this is personal to me because I'm angry as hell. Let's get you Cliff's note. Folks, I never lived in Los Angeles, although I almost moved out there on at least 1 or 2 occasions. I have spent probably the equivalent of 2 to 3 months of my life, at least, out there. Numerous friends, lots of friends in show business, friends not in show business, friends, one of my best friends of all time, grew up there. And so I spent so much time out there, and was thinking of moving out there at one point. And to see those pictures, it is horrific. There's one that people took behind the boardwalk at Santa Monica, with the Ferris wheel. Like, in the last 5 years, at least twice, my family, we've gone and we just, get a hotel room, and we're a little bit off of the beach there, and we can walk around Santa Monica. Don't even bother with a car. Who the hell wants that in LA? To see that and see the fire behind there, that hasn't caught fire, is horrific. But I have a good friend, like a really good friend I used to hang out with in New York when I lived there. And he moved out to LA as a kind of performer type. And he's had to leave his house in Pasadena with his wife and 2 kids. And they had to get his older parents out of their home, which is 5 minutes away. They're in a hotel room, all of them at this point, all of them in a hotel room, hoping his house doesn't burn down. And I have to look up and see Donald Trump send out a message referring to Gavin Newsom, and somehow him and the mayor not allowing water to come through there. Yeah, there's a gravity issue with water going up. There is an issue with arson. There's an issue with the lack of water and ridiculous weathers and crazy winds because of climate change, something that you schmuck won't acknowledge. You who talks about wind farms and wanting to get rid of them and making up tales of birds dying and other stupid stuff that floats around, like that big sewage pit in your head that I guess we're supposed to assume is a cerebral cortex of some sort. But I think it's actually just a couple of floating meatballs and in dirty water would be my guess. To see him do that, to see Donald Trump attack Joe Biden, at least 5 people have died. Kids have lost their schools. Churches have burned down, and homes everywhere. And these are not just wealthy people. These are middle-class people. These are working people. Okay. Even a working person's home in LA is expensive as hell. They've lost everything. Imagine that hits your life. We've all been through moments similar to that where we've lost somebody, something really valuable to us. Imagine you've lost your home. Imagine you've lost a family member. Imagine a family member has been injured, burned, even if not killed. And this jackass is sitting there and attacking the governor and the current president who are trying to deal with it. And then joining in everybody's favorite unelected EQ of a lawn chair guy, billionaire Elon Musk, who actually looks like a pile of jello walking with chopsticks trying to make it through life. And we have to hear that low EQ schmuck and IQ. The guy that told everybody on Twitter, like, say nice things to other people. I will try to amplify them. Right after he said to somebody to F themselves in the face for questioning the special visas of high school workers. Elon's good with that. So is Donald, because you see, they're never really against immigration. They just need to attack people who are poor and suffering because they're sick like that, which is why they would attack people who are caught in a fire. Again, like these are the reasons you don't elect children to do an adult's job. You don't elect some sundowning dementia loser who makes up that Hezbollah was part of January 6th, his little attack. You don't elect people like that. And this country was stupid enough to do that. No, the Republican Party and some of its allies were stupid enough to do that. Let's be clear about who it was. And Elon Musk used the most mass disinformation campaign of all time. A guy that needs disinformation, who talks about censorship because he can't tell the truth or say something smart. I mean, he's busy tweeting out the other day that if we had more C-sections, kids would have larger brains. Wow. You're smart, Elon. And people fell for this guy's shtick. Here's Tony Stark. All Tony Stark did was lock himself up and eat pizza for a month and maybe tried to self-lobotomize, perhaps. Yeah, he's also attacked the governor and, done his usual thing where somebody says something outlandish and he just has a little retweet of, yeah. The two dumbest, I would think they were related. The two dumbest, laziest, just most awful human beings that you wouldn't want to spend a moment of your time around. They're despicable. And again, I have a friend sitting in a hotel with family right now who's worrying about whether he'll have a house. There are people out there, all sorts of people, again, I don't know all of them as well, but people have talked about having to abandon their homes, people worried about family members. And he's tweeting and he's attacking. It's like with Greenland and Panama and, Canada, why did you want this again? You people out there, okay, the MAGA losers, they got to dance around the Trump diapers, on some level, right? I get them. They're not hard to get. I mean, they go through life that's different than the rest of us. They go through a life of, cartoons and cereal and, blaming everybody else for their problems. And cereal's good, by the way. I just meant they probably are in their PJs eating it all day, collecting the government benefits that they attack when they're somebody who looks different than them make. Okay, those MAGA losers who go on like Grateful Dead type tours following Trump around, that's your hero. I get where they're coming from. But the business conservatives, this is what you wanted? Because I know some of those folks who voted for him. This loser imbecile, this spray tanned orange freaking fool standing up there and basically embarrassing us in front of the entire world and attacking people in one of our largest cities while they are under attack by a natural disaster. And he will take over soon. He will be president. And we can expect this all the time. And this is what we're going to have to live through 4 years of this chaos and drama. And it's just the stupid, the non-ending stupid, because he can't not be stupid. And now he's got his little boy, Elon Musk, although Elon Musk is probably the real president, going to secretive meetings, having never been elected and deciding our lives. But these two uttering the stupidest things in the world. And basically we have to see it wherever it is. So it's not even the policies are awful. And we haven't gotten to them yet. Like their personalities are awful. Really, their existence is awful. But the fact that we're going to have 4 years of just having to listen to them, see them, hear them, like just nonstop stupid. Thanks for that, business conservatives. Hope it doesn't, the FAFO doesn't reach you. Hope your investments don't crash. Hope you don't pay the price for electing an idiot and an idiot and an idiot little side boy there who walk around and just utter the dumbest things in the world, things that move markets and cause wars. Well done. Well done. And thanks. That's all I have to say. And there's Tony.
Yeah, here I am.
He probably had more important things to say, and I don't think that was my best written or put together of my rants ever, or monologues, or Cliff's Note, whatever we're calling it today. But you know what? I'm angry. That wasn't
why. Why do you think it's not a good one? What happened?
So I try to actually put things together where I'm looking up policies and I'm looking up other stuff, and this was just pure. I saw one or two things he wrote, and I talked to my friend in LA, and this was based on pure anger.
Right.
So maybe it'll still be good. Maybe that'll be enough. But unbelievable is what I have to say, and unbelievable that that we're getting this again. Again, we have to ignore it all. We're going to do our best to. But there are moments where, it's one thing, again, when he says something stupid about Greenland. I mean, it's bad enough that Germany has to come out, and France and others, and make statements that, yes, Article 5 of NATO, which we are a member of, technically, will be used against us if we put any military presence in Greenland, right? And we know he's doing it probably to distract from Putin, and probably also to make it easier for Putin to just say, all right, now I'm saying, let's call for peace, but we get this big chunk of Ukraine is ours. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons he's doing it like that, and his own macho stupidity. But again, when it causes other countries to have to put out statements, it's dangerous. When it causes in LA, when I have a friend who's holed up in a hotel with family, doesn't know if his house is still going to be there, that makes me want to say some things that would get me banned from YouTube. And so it's
get banned from YouTube, huh?
Oh yeah.
Well, I caught the clip of James Wood on CNN, and I find it interesting that even the media is kind of playing this stuff a little bit, where they're letting James Wood go on and cry. Again, when there's people who barely have anything in that area, who are losing everything when they barely have anything, it just it shows you where we are at the state of this country. And it's no wonder, like I said, that Scott Galloway and Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski's, and others are really sweating around the collar. And it ain't because of the fires getting too hot in California. It's because the fire's getting too hot to the truth. That
nicely done.
Yeah. I've always got some.
You're good for a good turn of phrase.
I am.
No,
I'm really good at it.
You're right.
That's one reason why people come and watch me. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's my beard. Could be my beard.
I thought your beard was kind of sexy.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wear it.
It makes you look more Semitic.
Is that really?
No. I'm just having. I mean, again, the sort of the billionaire cruelty, the obnoxiousness, the kind of, because again, it does just the way it was present at, Eyeballs McGee, or Pupils McGee, not wanting to shake Kamala Harris's hand. It's present here in the mentality of people that are so devoid of compassion or so separated in their existence from the rest of us that they couldn't even have compassion for millionaires whose homes are burning down, which is basically what it takes almost to live in LA, if we're being honest, in certain parts anyhow. I mean, because it would never happen to them. If one of their homes built, 7 or 14 or 25 homes burnt down, they'd be just fine. It'd probably be a great tax write-off. They'd pay not only do they pay no taxes that year, they probably the government pay them.
Ain't that about a bit? That's and again, it's hard to sit and feel sorry for people who want to pretend is what it is. It's pretend. They're playing pretend, like James Woods pretending like he gives a rat's ass about anyone in this country when he's sitting and sobbing. And I played a video, and it's an older video of Arnold Schwarzenegger where he used $250,000 of his own money to buy 25 shelters for homeless veterans in Los Angeles. And like Elon Musk and all these billionaires whine and complain about the homeless problem in California. And like, one of the problems in California is all the tech billionaires live there, and they're mad that people who have nothing have to live on the streets because they own everything in California.
Yeah. Well, they're just mad also that the scum, who only have 50 million have to actually live near them. Let me quickly say, because this is amazing, from Maggie Pie here, a $50. Wow. Those are always get me. That is amazing. NATO needs to deal with Trump the way the EU dealt with the Brexiteers. Stick together. He will try derailing NATO. Don't let him succeed with that. You're correct. I was in England right after in 2016, before our great tragedy, but after they'd already done theirs. And, the people I knew who understood the implications of what Brexit would do were upset, because they knew that again, it's just like it'd be like adding tariffs on everything, which is essentially what it did. It like cut their trade, the trade to all these tariffs and screwed them economically and put them in a hole and harmed all sorts of people and that kind of thing. And you're right. You're exactly right. The other guys have to form an alliance against us. And they've talked about it, forming a European alliance, that doesn't include America. My guess is they probably in that they may include Canada, although if Canada ends up electing this Poilievre, or however you pronounce his dumb name, then he's a Putinite, I think, pretty much true too. So, I mean, they could end up going that way. France, Germany. I mean, there's worry out there just as to who Putin can interfere with. As I've said, they've got much more ability to block that, because they actually take disinformation seriously and know that it's not speech. But they've fallen prey to this stuff too. But I would say Europe really, if they can, the large majority of them, and I'll thank Holly Fafo, always good. Hey, y'all, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do like and subscribe. I'm going to share the Patreon with you in a little bit. It's up. The new levels are up. The new benefits are up. I kept promising it to you, and it kept not happening. And damn it, I got it done. And there'll be a note to YouTube subscribers. They'll be sent tomorrow about the changing levels there and everything and whatever. And you'll get exactly what the people at Patreon got. in terms of a notice, but it's going to be a little different, the two places, and you'll see in what I tell you all. Once I've sent everybody a note, I'll talk more about it. But I've said that I see Patreon as the main hub because I don't trust multinational faceless corporations, and that's essentially what Google, who owns YouTube, is now. And they've demonetized me numerous times and suspended me before for debunking election conspiracies because their AI read me as actually sharing them, and I'm exhausted by the So I'm still going to be here, and I'm going to be doing my live stream from here, and all my videos are going to go up here. I mean, YouTube is in this world the only good place to house everything because they are a monopoly. But I'm going to try to have some other places for some good stuff too. So to get back to where we were, which is again, the billionaires, the people like that whining and crying about their situation, the James Woodses of the world. I don't know. For all I know, he doesn't have a ton of money because he seems like a moron, and people haven't want to cast him in movies in recent years because everybody has always said that he's an asshole and they don't want anything to do with him. Like, in real life, he's a horrible person, has been, got accused of harassing women, tried to deny it. I mean, the woman, she came out and said it when she was underage. He did this. But then, of course, he naturally joined MAGA because, again, MAGA is flypaper for the worst human beings alive with the 7 deadly sins and the 4 horses of the apocalypse and everything else. If you're a horrible human being devoid of any positive qualities, you'll find MAGA attractive. It's spite. It's a movement of pure spite. And so Woods is maybe too stupid to hold on to his money. He certainly made enough money over those years when he was being cast in movies as a villain and just playing himself, where he should be a multimillionaire, but I don't know what his situation is. So maybe he's too stupid to actually put money in the bank. I don't know. Maybe put it all in crypto, man.
Maybe he put it all in crypto. Well, that could be.
As we say, Tony, some of us love crypto.
Do we? Is that what we say?
No, we don't.
That's not what I say.
I feel like my brain, it was like Giuliani started to leak on my face there, just putting that hat on. Yeah. So again, everything, folks, we're going to keep focused because mainstream media does not. They're a joke, corporate media. But Tony and I and others, we're going to keep focused. We're going to keep everybody's eyes on the narrative here. And the narrative is once again, Elon Musk, through his stupid Doge agency, would come in and want to cut the funding for California wildfires. Marjorie Taylor Greene would say it's a good thing or a bad thing, but Jewish lasers started it. So what are we going to do about it? She blamed the last wildfires on that. That was her conspiracy theory. Not the last one, but one of the other. And Donald Trump would say, as he did last time around, they didn't vote for me, so I don't want to give them aid. That is the billionaire mentality. Conspiracy, cruelty, stupidity. And you've got it right in those 3 idiots right there. And that their mentality pervades the Republican Party, much of our society, where people have come to just, if you're less fortunate, I mean, it's amazing. And it's amazing that they can't see that it could be them. Right? I mean, the people that are attracted to MAGA that don't have all of that money, who couldn't have the helicopter come lift them out if their house were on fire. Guess what? If all that funding, because when it happens, it's like a hurricane that hits Florida or South Carolina, man, do they come asking for aid really quickly? Ooh, amazing how that socialism is fantastic then.
I got something I said the other day. I said it's time to focus on the real issues because the people in power sure the hell won't do it for us. And that kind of goes along with what you're saying. They're not gonna. These people are only gonna deal with the issues that benefit them, unless we kind of step it up and force them to take these issues on that affect all of us in the country that they live in, because they see it as their country and they own it. And really, honestly, to some degree, maybe this is my cynicism kicking in, but they do kind of own this country as of January 20th, don't they?
They do. And again, just, remember the well from which they sprung, right? It's like when I talked about, and I loved getting his name wrong purposely. I do that a lot. Bob, Bruce, Bill, whatever, Fisher. the googly-eyed husband of Deborah Fisher, who
You
stole
talking
their
about the Ku Klux handshaker? Is that what you're
yeah,
talking about?
the Ku Klux hand, yeah.
Yeah.
Who stole their ranch, like basically made multi-million dollars from. I mean, again, even if he's not a billionaire, it's that mentality, right? It's because that mentality pervades others. We need to be able to tell the difference, and we need to be able to put all these things in the right framework. Right. And the framework is, if you're a billionaire or a multi-millionaire of the, tens of millions, like some of these folks, you don't need fire rescue. That's the firemen, the fire department is an example of socialism that actually works. So are public schools when they do work and we fund them. They want to get rid of all of these things. They don't, they'd hire their own, if it was their house, they would just hire their own private fire force of underpaid workers, right? They probably would find the immigrants that they say they want to kick out to pay 50 cents an hour to risk their lives and put out a fire for them. Because again, none of us, like I said about what's his face there, about Google Eyes McGee, they're better than we are. In the way that he wouldn't look at Kamala Harris, because how would you look at Kamala Harris? The way that Donald Trump's dad wouldn't rent their places they put C on there, which stood for colored, because you were black and they wouldn't rent you. The way Elon Musk's beliefs were formed in apartheid South Africa, where his parents made their fortune. Gee, must have been tough to compete there.
Have you heard of Keith? Have you heard of Keith Wasserman? He's a rich guy, apparently in California.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
maybe.
So they were torching him, no pun intended, on Twitter because the guy tweeted this. Let me read his tweet here. Keith Wasserman, he's some rich dude in California being affected by the fires. He tweeted this, and this was Tuesday, at Tuesday night. He tweeted, "Does anyone have access to private firefighters to protect our home in Pacific Palisades? Need to act fast here. All neighbors' houses burning. Will pay any amount. Thank you." He tweeted that out into the world.
And my guess is then he wouldn't pay you after it was over. Or he'd do what Trump did and be like, here's 50 cents on the dollar for all the people that built the Taj Mahal. Again, if you don't see that as the predatory class, call them what you will. And again, they may not all be billionaires, but it is the billionaire oligarch mentality. There's the wannabes, right? Who just are like their little side pieces that kiss up to them, that think they'll be like them. And sometimes they're right. Excuse me. Sometimes they get access, right? I mean, that's what J.D. Vance, who was not poor, but was like maybe middle class. That's what.
Do you see that screen? Do you see that screen down there?
No, am I in two windows?
No, I did that. Click that. Yeah. Click that thing and push add. Click that thing and push add. Look at that. There's the tweet from Keith Wasserman. There it is. Does anyone have access to a private firefighters? Like, this guy's like, hey, I'm super rich. I can afford to take away firefighters from the peasants to come throw buckets of water on my mansion. Like, holy, and the guy doesn't even know what public safety is. It doesn't understand why tax dollars are important to communities. He only understands one thing and one thing only. I have all the money. I have it all. And if you're not giving it to me, then I'm whining, bitching, and moaning. And here he is. It's just insanity. And if you want to remove it, all you got to do is click remove.
Right. Just the usual for, yeah. Yeah. And again, you have to understand, like, think about Brazil or, I'll never forget. And he ended up being, let's call him, too moderate a Democrat for my taste in a bunch of ways, and was too friendly with Republicans. But I will never forget, because he was the mayor of Philly when I was in college there, Ed Rendell, if you remember. I ended up being the governor of Pennsylvania, saying that if the Republicans got their way eventually, we would look like, at that point, most Latin American countries looked, where you'd have gated, like barbed wired areas, country clubs, homes, and the wealthy would go between them in armored cars or helicopters, right? Brazil was really bad this way 20 years ago, 30 beyond that. And I think there's some of that in there. I haven't been there, so I can't speak as intelligently on it. But there's still some of that where we're like, that's what they want to turn this into. People really need to look at what like fascist dictatorships that have become monopoly states and oligarch states. You have to look at what they look like when all the regular people are so destitute that they can't even be among regular people. You think what happened with that healthcare CEO? That's the way it is everywhere, because 95% of the population doesn't have the food to eat, the money to spend on anything. So this is what happens. That's the way the Wasserman guy and people like that, people like David Sachs and Elon Musk. I mean, we talk about they want to crash the economy so they can have their little dream of crypto take over and be the currency everybody uses. Do we not think at this point that, and I know I've seen some examples and I wish I brought them with me, that they're not invested in climate change too? It causes migration crises. People have to leave certain areas. That allows them to demagogue and blame the left and say, see, look at all the immigration because of their policies, when really it's climate migration. It also allows them to invent what the solutions are. Do you need burn-proof, a burn-proof home? Do you need there are a couple of them that were inventing crap like that. And if anybody has any examples in the comments, please come in and share them. But that's what they were doing. They want to profit off of it, off of climate disaster. Like they want to profit off of everything. Again, like they don't ever think it'll happen to them. There are some things your billions can't buy you. If a huge gust of fire or wind comes and takes your helicopter into the ground, you will still die like everyone else. I hate to tell you, that's the way it works. I know you think your billions that you can maybe sit there, make a deal with the devil. Maybe at that point, buy Satan off if you haven't already. At least you want to play the song Crossroads. But I mean, you're still you're human. Well, you're not really human. Certainly not in any form that I recognize. But you are in the way that you're made of flesh and blood, and that burns and that blows up and crashes. And you think you guys all think you're nothing can happen to you. Well, again, something happened to that healthcare CEO. You're alive like the rest of us, and they want to make it worse. They want it to be that situation. So that's what Wasserman. That's the way he sees the future. Private fire forces for those who can hire them to come in. All schools are privatized. When we go back to like Little House on the Prairie, pre that, if you don't have the money to send your kids to school, I hate to tell you, better be good at homeschooling while you're working.
Well, yeah, they want privatized schools for them. They want privatized firefighters for them. They want privatized security for them. They don't want to pay for any public services for anyone else. And they want it all. They don't want to pay taxes for the roads, but they want the roads paved in gold is what they want. And
they won't pay for it though.
No, they want us to pay for it. They want us to pay for the roads, the waterworks.
Well, they're better than us, Tony. We're the little people.
Absolutely
we're not
they
valuable.
Created us. They created our jobs. They created our communities. They're the great ones in this society, aren't they?
We're just goo, And you may have read at times, any of you, parts of the New Testament, but that was all a lie too. It's supply side AR-15 Jesus, who of course supports all of them in this. That's why Joel Osteen.
Go back. What did you say? Say that again. Supply side AR-15 Jesus.
Who supports all of them.
That's the kind of Jesus they like, man. They like that. They don't like the gay brown dude with long hair and a dress, right? And the sandals, walking around with his
helping lepers, washing the feet of the poor,
right?
Calling on, saying it's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven.
Right. They don't like that Jesus.
They don't like Samaritan that helping somebody on the road who you could call, an immigrant. No, that doesn't exist. They've got buffed up supply side, AR-15 Jesus there with his gun and his big wad of cash.
I like what Jesse James says. Jesse James in the chat says Peckerwood Jesus.
Exactly.
That's perfect. Peckerwood Jesus. Someone meme that, please.
I mean,
Peckerwood
somebody
Jesus.
Please do that. And if somebody will meme, I'll pay you if you can meme my little AR, the supply side AR-15 Jesus.
That's great.
If you could put that with me and an image of him and my name under it, somebody knows how to do that. I would love to have
get
that
it out there. Let's get it out there on the internet.
Because here's the thing, and John Fugel saying, who's very smart at this stuff, said it when he did the interview here. Firefighters, let's just say this quickly, by ET, firefighters in the cities used to be private companies that used to purchase fire protection from. They want that again. Absolutely right. Thank you for the $5 super chat. You are absolutely right. And that's the thing. And again, so this is why we need to stay focused, because even when it's these things that you think have no relationship to money, Tony found you that quote from Wasserman guy. I can explain to you why they want to cut government funding for it and why the firefighters are bad, because it's socialism that works. Again, they don't want any of this. They don't believe in democracy. Peter Thiel has said it. You have to choose between capitalism and democracy. He chooses capitalism. The reason they all love Greenland, and one of the reasons Trump won't shut up about it, I just read about it. They want to create a cyber state that would be housed in Greenland. The Broligarchs. Go read about it. Seriously, they're all in on this. And what do you think the currency would be in that cyber state? Gee, it could be crypto. And they'd give up their American citizenship. I mean, this is all real stuff. I know this sounds like a cartoon because it should be.
They are cartoons, though. They are cartoons.
That's the Broligarchs are our ruling class. Like Mark Zuckerberg, who came into Threads and was like saying to people, "Oh, if you want a virtue signal and leave Threads," I'm barely ever there. I post videos there, and I'm about to stop doing that. I think I will close down and have nothing to do with the Zuckerberg. But he's like, "If you want a virtue signal," I'm like, "Oh, really, asshole?" So by showing that I have virtues, that things I believe in, that's signaling to you. That's the sign of a sociopath. You would say that because you don't get what it's like to have any virtue other than stuffing your pockets with money. Right?
He would never know the virtue of someone giving the shirt off their back when they could barely afford to buy a brand new shirt when they gave it to someone else. He would barely understand that virtue. He's never had that virtue because he's never been in that situation. He's never had that experience. And not only has he had not the experience of someone handing or giving his own shirt off his back to someone else, but he's never been in a situation where he needed someone so badly to desperately generously give them their shirt off their back to him.
He grew up in an upper middle class family. Mommy and daddy paid for Harvard and whatever, And again, I was lucky. I had one person in my family who had, an older grandfather who paid for me. So just so you know, I'm not scared. I don't feel hot under the collar. I'm nothing like, I'm not, like these guys, but yeah, I came from a middle to somewhere between a middle and upper middle class family. And I'm not ashamed to say it because I didn't have the money that I saw of some of the folks that around me, but like, I know the difference. I know how lucky I was that I never worried about food or worried if I could go to the doctor. I knew college was going to be covered. I know that most people don't have that, but someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who came from similar circumstances, probably better than me, but maybe was only similar to me. Well, it doesn't matter. Mommy and daddy paid for Harvard. Mommy and daddy set him up. And so he didn't need to take care of anybody else after that. His decision was the polar opposite of mine.
Well, they're ladder pullers. They're ladder pullers like that. So you either got a silver spoon in your mouth and you look down upon the peasants, or you're a ladder puller. You make it out of one position of economic class and you work your way up and you pull the ladder for everyone else.
Right. I also wanted to show, unlike Elon Musk and others who say, I don't believe in censorship, blah, 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 and then somebody criticizes them and they hide it. I'll show somebody criticizing me. So Quesadilla here, I'll thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, your complaints of Elon would carry more weight if you weren't on Twitter feeding his platform. There's some truth to that. And I'll actually tell you the honest to God truth about where I am with Twitter. The reason I'm still on this platform, and I've decided while I'm still there, I've kept live streaming there. So first of all, I don't engage almost ever. Somebody asked me a question I here and there, and they need help with something I have. But I've engaged almost not at all. When I've gone there, I go there maybe once a day. I've put videos up there, and I've kept live streaming there. I don't do anything else there. So I've cut my engagement by about 90%, and that may not be good enough for you. That's okay. You have the right to criticize me. But what I've tried to do 2 or 3 times is to download my data, and it's stopped in the middle. Because my actual plan is to download the data, erase all of my tweets, and lock down my account. And then I will no longer be feeding Elon at all. I'm still, as I said, 90% less feeding Elon. And if you think that's not good enough, that's okay. But I am not there anymore for discussions with people. I don't tweet anything else out. Go check my timeline there. See if I've tweeted anything else out except for I may have a few things where people asked me a favor from, and said, can you do this for me? Whatever. And I was doing it to be nice. But otherwise, I've tweeted out no original thoughts for me, nothing else like that. It's just been videos. And it's just been the live stream. And I figured while I was still stuck there, I might as well use it to my benefit.
So I want to say something. I want to say something on this one.
Yeah, I'll just finish up. If you want to criticize me for that, fine. But so you know what my plan is, and it may take a week, may take a day, may take a month. It is to, when I have my data from there, it is to lock the account, erase everything, and then I will no longer be streaming there, and I will no longer put everything up. I'm not going to close my account because then somebody can grab my name, and I'm not like some big famous star, but I've got enough, people who know who I am, enough of a name and whatever, that I'm not going to allow someone to pretend they're me and say all sorts of terrible things. So I am going to keep the account. It'll be locked down. It'll have no engagement.
So, to the more weight, I actually think that it does carry more weight when we're over there saying the things against him, because Elon Musk bought Twitter as a weapon. And this is the last thing I got to say, because I got to go pick up a kid from public education, because us poor send our kids to
do it while you can, because that they'll be on to defunding. I mean, they're already on to defunding that.
Right.
I mean,
exactly. Exactly. But I want to say to this point that we should not walk away from these things that they're weaponizing against us. We should do our damnedest to weaponize it back against the ruling class, weaponize it back against the monopoly state. And I know that we're kind of on the monopoly state apps, the monopoly state platforms, because it feels like the tech bros have taken over. The monopoly state is really, the creme de la creme of the billionaires anymore are tech bros. But let me explain something to you. We don't get rid of this oligarchy by leaving their platforms and leaving them to all the riches. We go and we challenge them where they are, and we challenge them in the places that they own. It's the reason why Jeff Bezos censored that cartoon, is because he knows what happens when someone challenges him in his media that he has bought to weaponize against us. He knows what happens. People know the truth. And when people know the truth, and it may seem like it's an uphill battle, because it really is an uphill battle, because they do own, they have a monopoly over our lives and our communication. But folks, we still need to communicate, even if they have control over it. Cliff Schechter.
I'll say, yeah. Well, quickly. And again, Tony and I think have a bit of a disagreement. I mean, not only in that, I agree 100% with that. I think the way he can control an algorithm, like if you go on Fox, I guess they can cut your mic or not put you on camera as much. I mean, there are ways they can do that. But if you go on there, he can use his algorithm so that almost nobody is seeing what you're putting on. That's what my problem is. Actually, otherwise I would stay to fight it out. But I have plans to leave because I'm not sure that people are even seeing when I am fighting against him. And that's if there's a way, and you're a smarter tech guy than me, that I can ensure people are. You are. I mean, I'm just being honest.
A little bit, not by much.
I can ensure, if I can get around his algorithm, if I can ensure people are seeing it. Yeah, I think I'm a damn good messenger at sharing messages and whatever. And I'd stay there for that. I won't stay there to I'm not sharing cat pictures. I'm not talking about my love for the Yankees. I'm not talking even about having political arguments. I'm feeding no other content. I would just stay there to attack his messages if I felt like I could do that and people would see it. But and the one, last thing I'll say, one other person threw in, and I'm sorry, I didn't see you went by here, it's naive of you to think that he won't grab your account. Well, that'll happen either way if he wants to. Like, I don't understand. I mean, maybe I'm naive and thinking I can lock my account down, but what's the difference? Even if I shut my account down, you don't think he can start up an account? You don't think he'll still and put my name and my face on it? Of course he can.
He stole the handle at America. Cliff and audience, yep. I got to go, but I appreciate, and I think this is an important conversation to have. And I appreciate, again, audience, it is important that we have this conversation, because these are things that we are going to have to get out there in the open, and people are going to have these discussions. And the reason why is because they need to hear us, that we know that they own our communication and that we're watching them. So everyone in Cliff,
Tony,
yeah.
Great. No, this is a really good. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem.
I've told folks I will be, this will be replayed later and tomorrow, but also this interview will be cut out and will be a video on my channel because
Awesome. The one,
best interview. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you're on fire today, dude.
Oh, am I?
Oh,
Okay.
fuck. I can't believe I just said that.
Well, I'm not where I need to be on fire. So
The one moment where I didn't want my mic to work. And
right,
it worked.
Exactly. Well, it happens that way sometimes. Cliff,
I honestly, folks,
Cliff, get your foot out of your mouth. Get your foot out of your mouth, and continue the show. Audience, stick around for more Foot in the Mouth with Cliff Schechter. I'm out of here.
Foot in the mouth. That's the name of my show. Foot in the mouth. Mic off.
Cliff Schechter.
Take care, buddy.
All right, we'll see you.
Yeah, I am deeply, deeply sorry about that. I mean, I have to believe anybody who knows me and knows I come in good faith has to know that was a mistake, and I would never. And listen to what I just say at the beginning of this. I love Los Angeles, one of my favorite cities. So, and a lot of people I love are there. So, no fire jokes. No. Trump 2028 from Brian Jones. Yeah. I mean, Brian, if you are kind of dumb and don't believe in the Constitution and are sitting in mommy's basement playing with your junk while one of those pictures from that weirdo painter is up on the wall that makes Trump look like he doesn't have man boobs, but has actually worked out at some point in the last 67 years and, doesn't eat hamburgers all day while trying to hold himself back from reaching that while watching Fox and Friends. Sure, buddy. I hope you've enjoyed being here, though. And you really hurt our feelings. Thanks for giving me the extra number here. Maybe if they keep me monetized, I'll make a little bit more off of you from advertising. So it's not just Elon Musk. I do. This is a tough conversation. And again, that's the conclusion I came to when it came to Twitter. I'm willing, I'm open-minded to other people. Some people have left completely and done whatever. But as far as troll got bounced, thank you for letting me know, Cynthia. But as far as Dementia Trump 2025 from Jay Solomon, yes. But as far as I'm concerned, what I don't like is mass thinking. And we can fall into that on the left too. Everybody who says this must be the way. Everybody who says that, there are things we obviously know are right or wrong. And I'm sorry, sometimes you just know them. As Potter Stewart, the justice, who's from Cincinnati, by the way, put on by Eisenhower when Republicans were good, as he said about, let's say it rhymes with pornography or corn, because they'll demonetize me here. Again, that's why we're going to be doing a lot more stuff on Patreon too. He said, I know it when I see it. Well, with some of these things, I don't think it's the easiest thing in the world. There are some places that are worth engaging, like Truth Social, if I could go there to troll them, but I haven't decided that that's a place worth engaging. Twitter, I've come to the conclusion that I don't think it's worth engaging anymore, except for if I'm stuck on there, if I haven't been able to get my data yet, I decide I might as well benefit while I'm there. So that's why I decided to keep live streaming there and putting pictures up. Think of that what you will, Again, if you know me, you know that I'm telling you the truth because you know that I do come in good faith and you know that I'm honest about what my reasoning is. Now, I can be wrong. I can be stupid about plenty of stuff. Hell, I can't work a mic half the time, and that's generous. But that is a conclusion I came to. I can be persuaded that I should pull everything from there right now, even before I get my data. I can be persuaded by Tony, although I haven't been yet, that we should, that we should stay there to fight. Though I don't see the purpose in doing that long term because I don't see that the algorithm allows me to have that opportunity to fight effectively. But I may be persuaded in any direction. And all I'll promise you folks is that when I do, this is a community here. I'll listen to your criticisms. I'll make a decision, as you should listen to mine and other people's, and make a decision what's best for you, and then do it. But, the thinking that everything is put one way, that there's one truth for all of us, in a lot of ways, there are not. There are simple truths. Bigotry is wrong. We all are created equal. We all should have an opportunity in this country to make enough money to live a full life and have the best health insurance possible and take great vacations and raise a family. I won't accept anything less than that. I won't accept any bigotry. But there are things that people call bigotry that isn't. and sometimes you know it if you see it. And there are things, and we've debated some of them in the past or just discussed them, right? But, and it's the same thing with something like this. I don't think there's an easy answer because I do know some people that are staying on Twitter and fighting the fight. And there are some people with huge accounts. Now, what I've always believed, if it's a fair fight or anything close to that, in 2004, I told everybody here, I was paid by Sinclair Media. And, why they hired me as the liberal analyst. Guess what, folks? Like, I went on there, and I'm sorry, again, to toot my own horn, I beat the crap out of both the guest who was on the right and who's being paid 5 times as much as me, even though I was paid better than most liberal outlets have ever paid me, which is nothing. And I would beat up on the host who was right wing. And I think I can say that. If I can go back and locate those old ones that are on like a CD-ROM or something from 2004, I'll show them to you. I was never some patsy on there because I felt like even if they didn't give me a fair fight, I could kick their butts. So yeah, if you think you can go into their spaces and take them on and you have a fighting chance, I do think that's worth it. I really do. I'm just not sure the algorithm that Elon can employ makes it so I can do that. But that's the longer version. We'll see. I'll figure it out. What I want to do, what I should do. But I don't know. That is my plan for right now. And again, if you go to my account, you'll see besides these videos and the live streams, which actually help lift up our community, helps lift up my live stream here and my videos. So my YouTube, which is above 100,000 right now until the next time they decide to purge people, we'll see, so that I can grow on that platform. Well, if Elon's platform helps me do that, because liberal billionaires certainly aren't giving me the money to do it, you can make an argument it's worth doing, which I'm not doing right now. I still don't think it is because I don't know that it can. So we'll see. If that changes, I may change my mind, and I'll let you know why. The only thing I'm going to promise you is I'll be honest with you. You may disagree with me. You do you, Cliff. Christina, thank you. Well, I always do me, and that's the thing. Like I'm not a wilting flower, if you will. Got a pretty strong sense of myself and a pretty strong ego, and not ego, hopefully in a bad way, but confidence. I just also believe that you guys who are nice enough to tune in here deserve an explanation, right? So I'll give it to you. Where'd you say that? If YouTube purges people, Matthew Tarpley, a whistleblower, will call them out. Yeah, I think so. And again, I don't know that they purge any individual. No individual has come to me and told me that. I'm going to guess that that was just that those were bots. But YouTube makes such a big deal of the 100,000 mark, right? It's such a big deal. They verify you there. They allow you to sell merch from their site there, which makes it easier, which, by the way, I still don't think I'm going to do because I'm going to do it from Patreon. I don't want to give them that power or somewhere else. But we'll see. I haven't decided yet. And that silver button, which I don't even feel like ordering anymore, but I'm going to because screw them if I stay above 100,000. But that's the point I'm making, which is those bots, I don't think that they were there because if you read people that understand it, we had Greg Olier on here who understands this stuff really well, the Russian bots and stuff like that, experts like that I've spoken to and had on this show and whatever. And they were attaching bots to what they thought were prominent, which means I think if you had mid 5 figures or above, 6 figures above, I don't know, liberal accounts or people that had done things. I mean, I'm a target right away because I wrote ads for Biden in 2020 and done other things like that. So they probably attached bots to my account. So they probably could, maybe some of them, so they could start internal fights, on in threads. We had some of those folks removed, but others I'm sure I didn't see. So they could, maybe mess with me so they can inflate my numbers and then boom, they're gone. And I get depressed. I'm giving up on YouTube, which is not what happened. There's all sorts of ways they try to manipulate you psychologically. And if I would do, so I'm guessing they did it during the election. All right. I don't think it was right before I got to 100,000. I didn't just shoot up suddenly. So my point to you is, if YouTube makes such a big deal about this 100,000 number, why didn't they do it when I was at 85 or 65 or 97 even? Or why didn't they wait till I get up to 110 or 115? But to wait till somebody gets to between 100 and 101, both times right below 101,000, and then do it. So it's you feel like Sisyphus pushing a boulder. Isn't that kind of a dickish thing to do when you're telling people that it's this big 100,000 is this big milestone, and like I feel like I'm living what do you call it? Come on, losing my mind, folks. Come on. It's Groundhog Day. That's the name of the movie. I bet some of you even knew what I was talking about before I put it in there. So I'm living, Groundhog Day. And essentially it's like over and over again. It's like I wake up, I'm like, I'm below 100 again. I mean, they could have, in the end, it was 4,000 or 5,000 bots. Clearly somebody was targeting me. I think probably Russia, could have been China, could have been Saudi Arabia, could have been Iran, could have been domestic idiots, who knows? But whatever it was, couldn't they have done that sooner? Do they have to wait till you get right over 100,000 and you feel like you've accomplished something? That's all I'm saying. That's a heartless corporation for you. That's a corporation that doesn't care about the people that use it, don't care about what they think, don't care about what they need, because you wouldn't do that if you made such a big deal of that number. I would never do that. Be like, guys, like if we can just reach 30,000 people in the chat room here, I'll buy you all a Ferrari. And then, because in this hypothetical I'm giving you, I had the money to do that. And then I make sure that it kept getting up to 29,998, but it would fall just below, just to screw with you. That's what somebody who doesn't care about the people that are supporting them, who are using their product or supporting them some way, that's what they do. And that's what I'm saying. That's part of my problem with YouTube. So there you go. That's why I had a real problem with it. That's why I don't fully trust them. That's why I'm telling folks, and I'll even be telling some of you who are YouTube members, why I would prefer it if you were to go from there over to Patreon. And we'll probably find a way to discount that for the first month in some way. I don't know. We'll do something to try to entice you to go over. But I would rather have folks at Patreon where we're in a direct communication, where I don't have to worry that Elon's going to swoop in and buy YouTube or some other idiot like Peter Thiel, where I have your emails. So if something happens, I can contact you and let you know where to find me, which YouTube gives me none of your personal information. There you go. I was just suspended for referring to Klansmen as crackers, JD Christie. Yeah, that's what I mean. There was a while we were told you could not say the word Klan. Right now, I think they allowed it yesterday, but I'm even risking it when I say the COVID word. When I say the I spell it right, VACCINATE word. Like there's random words that because conspiracy theorists have grabbed them, I can't say on here. They're not even curses. If I say them, they immediately assume that I'm making up a conspiracy. Like that's real censorship. I can't talk about issues I want to talk about. So Elon can't buy anything. He isn't liquid at this point. You are correct. His Tesla shares are going to be worth nothing. I'm sure soon enough he's alienated his entire customer base. Not a smart thing. I'm not the genius Elon is, but I feel like your customer base are people probably you shouldn't insult. And the right doesn't like electric cars. And of course, he bought Twitter for $44 billion. It was only worth 32 when he bought it. And he's done all of the genius he's done. So it's now worth 7 or 9. But you don't know, Russia or China or somebody could come in with some money for him. They could, because of all the chaos he's causing. So that would be my answer, Cynthia. He isn't liquid enough to buy it right now, but others, and there are other bad players on the right. There's that schmuck O'Leary who's on Shark Tank with Mark Cuban, who said he's done with Shark Tank at this point. I think it's his last season, who wants to buy TikTok. I mean, there's other bad actors out there with lots of money who could. And so I don't want them. YouTube is a key part of what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong. And they do monetize you and you can make some money from them. So it is far better than some of the other platforms, but I've got to expand, and Patreon is it right now. Next step will be a Substack. Because again, you get people's emails, you have a direct relationship with them. Yes, Jathan Nervy, the Burligarch is part of the PayPal mafia. They're all complacent and maniacal fascists. Yeah, they used to be these sort of libertarian types, right? They were socially more liberal. They just sucked on economic issues, but they all started following that some dorky, supposedly philosopher loser, Curtis Yarvin, and they've come to believe in this Burligarch fascism. And it really is as fascinating as it is scary. Again, Peter Thiel wants to live forever. They all think that they are naturally, because they're wealthier, they're better people. The way Donald Trump once said, you can't be great if you're not wealthy. they're better people than the rest of us, which is hilarious because they're evil and have no redeeming qualities. And so society should be run for them, but at their whim. And the little people, again, people need to go through pain to get to our crypto future, man. That's Elon said that. That's what they want to do. So I mean, if you know that, you know that. Google is big enough to ignore people who want to buy YouTube. You are correct. Again, there are a bunch of things for why it is less likely to happen, Cynthia. I'm not saying that it's imminent, but if you've gone through the experience of Twitter, if you've gone through the experience of Facebook, Instagram, Threads, if you've dealt with some of these guys, the experience of seeing what the Washington Post became under Bezos, you've been through all of this, and you've seen that Google has tried to fight our Justice Department on some antitrust actions and has taken over in numerous cases various parts of economies, you could call them, up and down the scale that feed their overall product, so that nobody can compete with them. They're still a huge monopoly, and huge monopolies do huge monopoly things. And I don't know, what if Google suddenly, how about this scenario? How about Google is given $1 trillion in government contracts? How about that? 5 trillion. And they never have to pay taxes again while Trump is president. What if he makes that deal with them, if they'll just censor and kick all liberal voices off of YouTube? Are we thinking that somebody at Google wouldn't think about that deal? I'm saying just again, it may not even be that anybody needs to buy it. It may be that they just need to be bribed. Look, I know some good people. I know somebody who's a software engineer there who's liberal. I'm not saying there's no good people that work at any of these places, but Google is a big corporation like anybody else. They've hurt people. They've undercut their competitors. Again, to think that couldn't be taken over by a bad actor who just becomes the new CEO, doesn't buy it, and Trump tries to buy them off, or Trump threatens them and they're scared, so they do what he wants, and suddenly lefty accounts start disappearing. It is something that has happened in other places. It is something that could happen. And so, no, I can't put all my eggs in that one basket. Most of them are in it right now as it is. And therefore, I will expand to other places. Some of them corporate, right? I'm going to do more with TikTok. That is and that, who knows if that O'Leary schmuck buys it. But, even their ownership, questionable at best. So, I mean, I'm going to try to have some other corporate outlets and then some others that are less corporate, where I'm diversified. So if one day one thing is shut down, you're in other places. It's smart to do that with your money. It's started to do that with your media that you take in. You want to diversify. You want to have a variety of sources, right? Smart to do it with your revenue. What do you think about Elon offering $1 billion to change the name to Wikipedia? Did he do that? I mean, that sounds like an Elon thing. He's such a child. Like the F you in the face, which I've already cursed a little bit, but maybe if I curse more, I'll get in trouble here. At our little, I don't know, Sesame Street get together where I have to speak to you on that level. Just the guy telling people he's going to promote nicer posts after when people question the H-1B visa, saying, F you in the face. Who responds like that? Or the guy saying that Elon was the biggest spreader of disinformation. His simple response is, F you. I'll say the word that rhymes with it, petard. I mean, he's a child like Trump, right? I mean, this is the way children, calling Gavin Newsom, this is the way children react to things, not adults. I mean, yeah, I do some name calling and whatever in my monologues, and even after them, I at least try to make it creative for you. I try to come up with interesting insults to call them. Are you petard? I mean, like, it's like a child. So I'm not saying, no, I don't get personal. No, I don't insult them. They've earned it. I don't do it to most people. Yeah, I say nasty things about them, but at least I try to be creative and interesting and use an adult vocabulary. I mean, they're little babies. They're little children. Hey, Wikipedia. Wow, it's hilarious, Elon. You're utterly hilarious. This guy that basically bought Twitter and lost all the money and whatever, just because he realized at some point that nobody laughed at his uncle jokes, and he's a tubby loser. I mean, his own dad said he used to get beaten up in high school because he was such a jerk. Sounds exactly like the guy we know. What else we got, guys? I apologize, no guest today. Matt McNeil thought he was going to come. I thought Matt McNeil would be able to do it. My bad. Hopefully you all enjoyed Jody yesterday. She was awesome. I had that one string the week before I went away for Christmas break and everything, where I mean, our guests, like, we just had a couple of incredible ones. But I'm going to try to get on the horse on that again too. I'm not sure that I want to have guests here every time. Like, I like having. I wasn't able to really talk to you guys as much in the last one. That was fine because Jody Hamilton is amazing. But there are times like this. I think my ideal would be 2 guests of the 3 shows, and then the third time that we get to have a longer conversation. So we'll see. But talking to people for next week. Let's see. Now be a good time. I don't know if I got everybody. So Maggie Pie, I got you for the $50 super chat. My gosh, thank you. That's incredible. Kelly Starr, thanks for making work bearable today. I don't think I got yours for $5. If I can make work bearable, I don't know what you do for a living, but I've done many things in the past that I did not like. So I'm happy to do that. Firefighters in cities used to be private. What you were saying, ET, $5 super chat. Thank you. Quesadilla questioned why I was on Elon's platform. $5. Thank you. JD Christie, a $99 super sticker. Thank you. I'm not leaving yet, but come on. Who's going with me anyhow? Any super sticker, 99 cents. Oh, here we are, ET again. You are very kind. People with addictive behaviors and actively using don't grow emotionally. Not until they are in recovery and working their special addiction program. You are correct. I've done work on addiction and addiction behaviors as some of the PR and policy work that I've done. It's actually something I've done some policy work on. And you're correct. It sort of stunts your growth. I think Donald Trump started developing the probably, again, allegedly, I don't have proof, addiction to now it's apparently Adderall. He's been accused of cocaine. He needs the uppers to function. I think he probably was addicted to various ones at different points. And obviously with Elon, there's the ketamine beast. Ketamine? Am I mispronouncing it? I don't even know. Sorry, I haven't done most drugs. A little pot when I was in college and a gummy now and again. Legal now. And I have a couple of drinks here and there, but that's pretty much my world. In any case, allegedly Elon, because I guess I don't know that we have the proof, but yeah, Cliff, you have some weird trolls. It keeps getting freakier. Kerosene Kara. Well, I consider that means I'm being successful. The freakier they are, the angrier they are, it means you're getting to them. And I like to get to them. It means that I'm upsetting them. And the trolls, I showed you before that psychological study. So for you trolls, if you're still in here, you have mental issues. You have serious developmental issues. You are, in the way that we were describing those with addictive behavior. You have, and not just addictive, whether it's drugs or whatever, you have addictive personalities, meaning you've got a lot of issues. The biggest one on there was sadism. You are so unwell developed that you enjoy cruelty to other human beings. You are most likely a sociopath or a narcissist. That's some psychology today. That's like 70% of you describing or more have one or more of those. So you're a loser. You want to come in here and attack me, you go right ahead. I'm not insulted. I kind of enjoy it. Actually, it's fun. I missed some things while I was addressing our favorite people. Those who like to blow up animal balloons so they have some company and suck on their nipples so they feel like they've had some human interaction. Let's see. Yeah, I see this. You don't like my music. Growing up in Ireland in the 70s and 80s, the fire department was all volunteer. They would summon citywide air raid siren. Yeah, there are a lot of places, even in sort of countries that are more social democracies, which is what I believe in, which means things that clearly everyone should have the basics on, and it shouldn't be profitable, shouldn't be things for profit. That includes our media, as far as I'm concerned. are for the common good, you should not be making a profit from. That's what it used to be with media. They were an extra write-off that places had that had the licenses given to them for free by the government for ABC, NBC. I wish we get back to that, but everything else, right? Firefighters were like that, and it's an interesting story because I've told you all I went to France. I just saw my friend for the first time in 25 years. An interesting story. So he lives in Grenoble, France. Beautiful mountains, view down of everything. And we were reminded, I fought a fire, and that is because they weren't big enough to have a fire force they could pay there, even though again they pay real taxes and all of that because they're a smart society. So what they do in Grenoble is they burn, in many places they do this. They burn the old grass, and so the new grass could grow, the old dry grass. Well, my friend Guillaume, his late father, and may he rest in peace, just recently passed away 2 years ago. He was burning the old grass, and at one point I was sitting there. A group of us were on. It was during a spring break at the British institution we're studying at. It was very international. We were doing the old Eurail around Europe, all these countries in 6 weeks, and we were staying with Guillaume and his family in Grenoble. There are 5 of us, and suddenly we looked up and we're like, the tree is on fire. That shouldn't be like that, should it? Then we ran out and noticed his dad had actually passed out. And now there's 5 of us, 6 with my friend Guillaume. It's on us to stop this fire from reaching his house. And this is one of the few times rarely been in a situation where I thought I was in real danger. I thought his dad was in real danger. And it's weird because I'm not a hero and I'm not claiming to be. But it's amazing when people you care about, anybody who's children certainly knows this, friends, their family, you don't even think about it. So I'm not saying I felt courageous. It was a honest, because we all reacted the same way, the exact moment. Nobody sat it out. And we all went and we found the hose there. But what we started doing is I still have a picture. I'll bring it in. Maybe that's something I can put up on Patreon. A picture 20, 25, 30 years ago, me holding a pitchfork. I've got soot on my body. I think I had my shirt off, soot on my body, shorts on. We had to go into thorn bushes to try to beat down the fire and to sort of smack it away from his house. We also had to go get pails filled with dirt to throw on the fire. And we had to go so we were waiting, and while 1 or 2 of us were running to get, gather dirt and pass it over to us so we could throw it on there, while they were also running to get the hose, there were 3 of us who were the last line between the house and the fire. We purposely put ourselves between it, and we were smacking away any fire brush that got close to his house. I can say we did that for long enough while he was able to help his dad up, who had passed out. His dad was okay, thank God. And we, were able to keep this at bay long enough till the volunteer fire department got there. Now, they couldn't afford there to have a paid fire department, but they would if they could, I promise you, and we should. And it ended up turning into probably one of the coolest stories of my life, only because everybody came out okay. The house came out okay. We were able to, this friend who's done so much for me in life, just seeing him again recently, I've given these 2 friends and spending time with my family and friends are bringing me back from, pre going away and pre-holidays, the funk I was in after the election and certain other things going on, that we could do this for him. I'd do anything for him. He's such an amazing guy. So I hope you're watching right now in France, Guillaume, because I know you've watched once or twice before. That was a moment. It's one of those moments that will stick for you forever. Oh, and it is one of the first reasons why, by the way, I've told people here among my 5 favorite bands, Pearl Jam, because as a joke, once everybody was okay and the house was okay, what did we do? Of course, we put on the song Alive and celebrated that the house was alive and that we were alive and laughed to it. The 20th anniversary of it, I put it up on my Facebook page and tagged all the people. I'm not on Facebook much anymore, thankfully, because the schmuck that owns it, but also I don't like it that much. But I mean, I was able to put that up because, and put up the song Alive. So that began my love affair with Pearl Jam. I've now seen 3 or so times in concert and has a lot of other songs that are amazing too. It is a great song, Chandra Welch. Hopefully cheese equals fromage. Oui, Sylvain. c'est fromage. Il a beaucoup le fromage, c'est très bon. Ça goûte bien. In any case, hope you like the story. I told you I'd tell you stories at times. That was a story from life, man. That was life. That was real life. No, LA should not have a volunteer fire department. Wasserman, whatever his face in Northern California, or I guess he's in Southern California, should be calling in private firefighters, because we should all have an equality to us. We're all the same priority when it comes to fires. No one's no better and nobody is no worse. That's the way a social democracy should work. What nice thing did you say? Talia, I love that you were so worldly. Well, thank you. I'll have a lot of those stories. My original plan, folks, when I got out of graduate school, remember my degree was in international affairs and I did some work for the State Department. As I've joked often, I did democracy promotion for them, sent me to Romania, post-communist society. And, when I went over there by about 15 years, and I had to give a number of speeches at universities, go on TV, because I got my grad degree in international affairs. And I thought I was going to be an international journalist or something of that sort, because I had lived in England and studied there, lived in France, studied there, spoke at that time pretty fluent French, now very conversational, but she probably heard what I just said. I'm sure I got some of the grammar wrong, but I can speak the language well, just with bad vocabulary and grammar at times. But yeah, that had been my plan. But after I got out of grad school, I did a month. It was so good. The all you couldn't fly. They used to do this through Cathay Pacific. All you can fly. You just have to go through Hong Kong around Asia. So I went to Bangkok and Chiang Mai and Koh Phangan in Thailand. I went to a friend was living in Manila. I went there. Hong Kong, obviously, to China, and then all across Japan, Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, down towards Okinawa, Tokyo, of course. Yeah, I love that. Call me worldly, call me whatever. I take it as a compliment. It's why I'm so embarrassed in front of the world that it's Donald Trump and Elon Musk and these people that are the face of our country. Because I don't think I've quite made 30 countries. Pretty close, though. Pretty close from the times I've lived abroad. And I lived a third place that was almost abroad. It wasn't abroad. I'd planned the summer before I went to grad school to live in Australia and work there. Desperately wanted to. And still I'm sad I haven't been there. But I will make my way there. One of my wife's best friends lives there, and we're absolutely going to go when we have the time and everything. But I digress. Is one of my best friends. I mentioned him earlier during my monologue, who was born and raised in LA. We met him studying in England, and I lived in New York City, and he lived in LA at the time. And so before we went to grad school, both of us, him law school, and me for my international affairs, we lived in St. Thomas, the U.S. Virgin Islands. And it may be American, but there's a French town there. There is obviously the native population. It's an American territory. And as Stacey Plaskett, I'm going to get her speech up as a video. When they elected Mike Johnson as the House Speaker, she stood up as the representative from the U.S. Virgin Islands and made clear that 4 million people had not had the right to vote, had not had their votes counted from the U.S. Virgin Islands, from the Northern Marianas, from Guam, because they come from territories, which is so manifest destiny, 19th century, it's ludicrous. They all should be states. And yeah, they probably help equal out South Dakota and these places that vote all Republican, which would make us a more fair country. DC, we should start with Puerto Rico if they want to do it. But those should be the two that are definite. But if we think that some of the other populations are too small, combine the populations of Guam and Marianas and a few of them, at least there are some common interests they share. It'd be over 1 million people, which are, if you combine them, I'm pretty sure. And maybe over 1 million people. And that would equal more than South Dakota and more than Wyoming. So, and those are right-wing Republican states that each get 2 senators. We should at least have 3 places from which we get 2 senators each, those places. In any case, Stacey Plaskett stood up to make that point. I lived in the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, for the summer. It's amazing. Went boating to a different island on weekends. My friend got the fun job at he was waiting tables at a restaurant and bartending. I don't know if you want to call it the fun job. I got a job at a law firm which is ironic because he was going to law school because they needed someone who was a writer. And so I wasn't doing legal stuff. I was writing up their briefs for them and everything because a background as a writer, I could write stuff pretty quickly. And loved it. And we lived purposely in a gay-owned hotel, which, by the way, was the most fun ever. These guys, I'm sorry if this is stereotypical, but the place was decorated more beautiful than anything I could ever do. And it was nice when like the guys there told me they thought I was cute. I took that as a compliment, by the way. I'm not a MAGA man, but we love living there. Like, so even there, the diversity of different folks who are from the island, the gay hotel we lived at as somebody who's straight. Like, I love that I got to learn things about all sorts of people that were not like me, or like me. We're all human, but different culturally. Tinker, thank you for the 99 super sticker. I really appreciate it. Sheldon Hughes for the $2 super sticker. Thank you so much. You have CA in there. So if that's for California, Sheldon, I hope you're okay where you are. Matthew Tarpley, you have lucked out. It has paid off in a lot of good ways. That's very kind. Thank you for that. I'm not sure if you mean I lucked out in that I've gotten to travel to places. Thing is the cool thing is that, as I told you, I'm not somebody, I remember there's a big sort of thing when Mitt Romney said, I wasn't born rich. I wasn't, I made this money. He did, of course, as what I would call vulture capitalism, but in his private equity firm. Okay. But he came from an upper middle, his dad was governor and ran for president. I mean, he came from an upper middle class family. In fact, George Romney was somebody who didn't believe he should make that much more money than it was the American Car Manufacturers, I think was the company he ran in Detroit, than his workers, and was for civil rights. He actually was a very moderate to liberal Republican. Mitt, maybe a center-right Republican, but should have been closer to his dad. So Biden gave him the medal of the congressional, not the congressional, the presidential medal. He deserved it. Point being that obviously was a different time, and relationship of workers to the ownership class was a little bit different in this country. But the main point I was going to make is that Mitt Romney said I hadn't been, I wasn't brought up rich, and everybody's like, your parents bought you your first house and you had college paid for. So, stop thinking that makes you like somebody who's poor. I get that I college paid for. So I understand I was way ahead on that. But if I'm telling you stuff like when I traveled around Europe, that was money that I earned. I worked in college. And again, like I worked as a bartender, chose to make money on the side, chose to work those summers. So I know I had it ahead of people, but I also didn't just have all of my money just handed to me. I'm lucky. And yet I still, when it came to that summer in St. Thomas, I didn't go down there and say, hey, I'm partying in St. Thomas. If I didn't have that job that paid for me to be able to do that, I wasn't going to St. Thomas. I still tried to live like a real person, knowing that I'd had some benefits that most people don't have. Again, nuance, we can find those medium grounds and know that I was damn lucky. Wasn't parents pay for everything. And you know what? I'm so glad of that now. I knew I was taken care of on the basics. I knew that I was going to get taken away on vacations, which I was. Damn lucky I got that. But I knew also that, when it came to certain things, especially once I got out of undergrad, if I was going away anywhere, I was paying for it. Paid for my place in New York, while I was in grad school, stuff like that. So I tried. I got lucky too in that the 4 semesters that I was at, so 2 years I was at my graduate program, I was able to do well enough grades wise and some extracurriculars that they gave me a 1/4 fellowship. So only 3/4 I had to pay for. And then I got work study. So I got paid for some extra work in addition to my bartending on campus. And I promoted a rock band, by the way, in New York City. So I was busy. I was doing some things. None of this is to brag, by the way. I know so many people out there had it harder. So many people come home and not know if they had. I mean, right now in Cincinnati, 30%, if I read that statistic correctly, of children are in poverty. They don't know if they're going to have enough meals to eat every day. That is sickening. Yes, we give my family, we give to charities, whatever. But like, if I could tell any government entity If you can raise my taxes and give that money directly to those kids so they could eat, do it. I'll vote for it, put it on the ballot, or just do it. Our state legislature won't because they're a bunch of right-wing hacks and they made sure to lie about a ballot amendment and got themselves locked in. But we have a more liberal city council here in Cincinnati. Do it because I'd like to do my part. I'm lucky, still lucky. Sorry, I went a little bit of a speech there, so I don't know if I don't know if I answered questions. Do you guys have stuff, questions, comments, more criticisms? And I mean that seriously. Face it, Cliff, you're a Nepo baby. I don't know if you're joking or I don't know if you're serious, but okay, if you're serious, then I'm a Nepo baby. You can look at it that way. I've told you what I think I am. I've told you that I think I'm very lucky. And that I have done my best to choose to give back, and was served on the Innocence Project board here for 8 years, where we freed a number of prisoners and whatever. I don't have to go into my resume. You can choose to judge me as you will. I've done my best to give back and whatever, and I also know I was lucky enough to grow up in circumstances. The only reason why I would disagree with Nepo baby is I look at Nepo baby as you were able to go into your parents' business because they had a spot for you. Your dad was a politician, you had name recognition, there was a seat sitting there for you, like your name was Bush or Kennedy, or you were in Hollywood, your kid was an actor, you're a famous actor, you're able to get them hired in the set. I didn't have anything like that. What I had is I had to go out and the businesses I had to create on my own. I had to go out and think up stuff to do. Nobody in my family had worked in, I'm aware of, had worked in politics. They were strongly believed in political issues, and that kind of thing, volunteered, but they hadn't. So I don't know. But again, if you want to view me that way, that's cool. I'm not offended. I view myself as a lucky member of the middle to upper middle class in America. And during a time where actually that meant a lot more, because, when being born in the 70s before Reagan came in, this country valued the middle class more. My parents were able to do more with their money. And yes, I had a grandfather who was wealthy and filled in holes. So that's me. It is what it is. I don't apologize for it, nor do I brag about it. Just like anything else about me. Nepo adjacent? Yeah, that may work, Jason. I like that. I don't hate you. Well, thank you. Listen, I don't hate Nepo babies. FDR was a Nepo baby, okay? Maybe not completely, because, Teddy Roosevelt was a distant relative. And he said, I welcome, the rich corporate folks, I welcome their hatred. Again, if you're wealthy and you do something for people, do you know why the right has so tried to spend their time demonizing George Soros and played to the wealthy Jewish stereotype, foreigner, all that stuff and everything to stop him? Because he believes in open societies. He's fought his whole life against both fascism and communism, any totalitarian society. He wants there to be open and free press that actually tells the truth. He wants there to be open and free schools, public schools. He wants there to be not be lifetime jail sentences for drug use. He helped fund some of the things that lessened some of the drug penalties around here when I worked with the Innocence Project. He's done good things with his money, so they hate him. So again, I do what I can. And again, seriously, I'm not just saying it. If you want to judge me on that and still think I am what I am, then I am what I am. I will not. I will proudly charge forward and do what I can do. And yes, Naomi, it's a matter of degrees. I actually didn't say that I just didn't think Nepo baby was the right term. I think there's a term for it, right? What I am, which was born into a middle to upper middle class family. There's got to be a term. Maybe just born lucky, is what it is. Because there's definitely a term. I was born very lucky. The only reason I said with the Nepo thing is only just because I didn't have a job waiting or whatever. But I've got a dickish sense of humor, like I'm kind of, I've been a schmuck at times when I was younger. Like that's the reason why I understood how well Trump was going to appeal
to young men, because young men are insecure by nature. When you sort of reach your teens and your stupid, hormones are telling you one thing and telling you to not be respectful of the opposite sex or same sex, if that's who you're attracted to or whatever, and kick in and you say things you regret. I regret a lot of things I said back then. And it's probably healthier now because I think the lessons that are taught are better in schools. But I'm not far from an angel. I would never portray myself that way. I think we I know she's joking, Starling, and she said that now, but I still feel a need, I guess, because I kind of feel like we're a community here, right? Like, I want us to all understand each other. I want us to all be able to speak honestly with each other. Like, I don't just say community because like it's a word. I hope that we're all people that are, in touch and whatever. So if you're joking, you're joking. But like, I think the reason I took it seriously is because I know how lucky I was. I really do. And I wish everybody, like my heart, to say what they would say about us bleeding heart liberals, my heart bleeds for, 30% of kids not having enough food to eat. That's a sickness of a society. Should never happen in any society, never. And it actually really upsets me. You went to UPenn, Sylvain Coiffon, Sylvain, when Jank of TYT did. I did. Maybe I'll challenge him to a Penn debate. I only did my minor in Wharton because clearly Jank's smarter than me. No, it's funny because Trump and the ones who really want to be like prestigious like to say that they went to Wharton because that's more prestigious than Penn. As you can tell, prestige is really important to me. So I did my minor in Wharton, but I was actually in the College of Arts and Sciences. But you know what? I will. I'm coming back. You guys gear up for it on Tuesday. I want to gather the stuff first to make my case. I don't want it to be off the top of my head because I'm angry about the stupid things he said. I'm angry about the direction he's taken that community. It went far enough to the stupid left with Bernie Sanders. And I don't care. I'll say that now. Bernie Sanders had a lot of the right policies, is a flawed, angry human being who kept running well past when he knew he couldn't win anymore and repeating the same slogans the right was repeating about Hillary being corrupt, helped the right win. He knew Russia was backing his campaign. He was okay with that. Just like the CIA told Trump, they told him. And a lot of those folks went to Jill Stein. And to me, it's the character of the people you surround yourself with. At some point, I'd also, as a lot of you probably know, I was on Sam Cedar's show for a number of years. And actually, Sam, I think, is an honest, genuine guy. Really do, in a way that I don't believe Cenk is. I think Cenk cares a lot about his image, cares a lot about that TYT is the biggest and the best, and was into all of that kind of crap. I think Sam's just somebody who believes in stuff. I think he was mistaken. And, we had a debate at one point, and at some point I'll reach out and see if I can get him back on here, or I'll go on his show, because I'd like to discuss it 9 years later, because the debate was essentially over the fact that a lot of his audience got angry at me because I platformed David Frum. Well, what's David Frum done in the past 8 years? He's still with us. He voted for Hillary. He voted for Biden. He voted for Biden twice. He's written articles that have been vastly critical, of the right and of Trump. Stood up against Trumpism, spoke out against it. I'm actually, people make mistakes. He was wrong to and I told him when he came on my show about Iraq. He was wrong to push for Iraq. He was wrong to be in favor of that. I thought that was a tragedy, one from which we've suffered gravely. But again, don't platform him. I was telling Sam at the time, like, you're platforming Glenn Greenwald. Guess who else? Sam's the Majority Report was part of the TYT network. Now they're fighting with each other. Sam and Cenk are going at it. Who else who used to go on Sam's show and was part of the TYT network? Jimmy Dore, also a Bernie Sanders supporter. Glenn Greenwald was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Cenk Uygur, Tina Turner, who referred to having to vote for Joe Biden as having to eat a bowl of, let's say it rhymes with spit. And then she runs for the Democratic nomination. By the way, she's gotten her butt kicked in every race she's ever run here. And we're trying to hide behind, like, I'm starting a progressive version of Mercury Public Affairs. Guys, it's like one of the biggest like lobbying firms for anybody in DC, right? Mercury worked for Paul Manafort. They worked for the Chinese government. Tina Turner went and collected money from them, but claimed that she, what was holier than thou about her, she's to the left. Yeah, okay. What a hypocrite. And anytime she's running an election, she's getting her butt kicked because she stinks at running elections. She's happy to collect Mercury's money, but then she criticizes everybody else from the left. Tulsi Gabbard, huge, by the way, Bernie Sanders supporter. So yeah, David Sirota. So maybe there's a reason I question the character of the people Bernie had around him, and even his character when it was people like Cenk Uygur, Jimmy Dore, Glenn Greenwald, Nina Turner, Tulsi Gabbard. Is that enough of a rogues gallery for all of you? Just thought I'd point that out. That's why I never supported him. And then his audience turned on me and said I lied about him when all I did was tell the truth about his gun and immigration record, which were terrible on 2 issues that were important to me. But I said the main issue was character, and I was supporting Hillary. And I also thought he was a terrible candidate. And I thought, frankly, who the hell at any age, even though I was dumb when I was younger, as I said, decides to spend their honeymoon in the Soviet Union that mass murdered people? So I had all of that to say, and I stand by all of that today. And you know what? Like, Sam ever wants to have that talk again, we want to compare David Frum to the people he's having on his show, happy to do it. But I'll put my record of who I had on the show and how they've turned out. They're all still fighting. And I pointed out those guys wrote, Timothy Snyder has said this, and the two that write about democracy and protecting democracy and wrote How Democracies Die, Zyblatt and Levitsky, I never remember their first names, made an important point, which is you studied history, and I did up to the PhD level, never wrote my dissertation. Sorry, Mom. Explained, which is anybody who wants to start stop an authoritarian force, you need all the allies you can get. You should be willing to side with, if it's on the far right, you should be willing to side with anybody who is for free and fair elections all the way over almost to the communist left. And if it's somebody who's a Stalinist type from the far left, they all become the same at the horseshoe anyhow. You should be willing to side with anybody over to even a very conservative person if they believe in free and fair elections and are willing to support the candidate who you're supporting, who's not the far Stalinist communist, right? That's how you stop these guys. And that's why somebody like David Frum, who apologized for what they had done and embraced good, I thought, why would you not have somebody like that at your show? And why would you be criticizing me for it when you're still having some of these characters that are criticizing the hell out of Hillary all the time, just making it harder during the general election? And wow, what a shock that half of them two-thirds of them ended up on the right. And the ones who still don't claim to be on the right, Nina Turner and Cenk, are just spending their time hobnobbing with the right and insulting the left. And maybe they'll make their way over there. Who knows? There's still plenty of time. So, again, it'll be what it'll be. But I debate, I used to do those debates. If you've seen me up against Cleta Mitchell or other people, I'll go on the Young Turks debate Cenk anytime he wants. Or any other place, here, whatever, in the middle of the street. And I'll take on his character because I think he's shown he has none. Sam Cedar I'll debate anytime, but the important distinction is Sam, I will say, I think has a lot of character and I think is a good person. I just think was wrong. I think made a mistake and was wrong. And I will debate him anytime, and I won't debate him on character because I think he has it. I will debate him on any issues he wants to debate on, about my having David Frum on and his having Jimmy Dore and Glenn Greenwald on and being part of the TYT network and all of that. Who made the better call? So there you go. Yeah, questioning Hillary for 12 hours during the Benghazi debate. Do you understand how that's Matthew Tarpley? Do you understand what that did to us? I mean, they were testing us. Al Qaeda, ISIS, various forms of those radicalized right wing, Muslim, Nazi form of Muslims, just like Nazi form of Christians. On the far right of any religion, you've got them on the far right of the insane Bibi Netanyahu Jews and whatever. And they were testing us in all sorts of various places. And Benghazi, you know, after 9/11, you know, whatever, was just another one of those places we were being tested. And if you know what happened there and you've studied it, you know it was a horrific tragedy. It was one where we screwed up, and we had a CIA base there. We didn't get to the ambassador to save him in time. We lost an ambassador. That's happened in hostile areas. We've lost people in hostile areas. And they politicized it, the sons of bitches, like they politicize foreign policy all the time, like they did the Middle East to win, like Reagan did in Iran to win, like Nixon did in Vietnam to win. All right. They politicized Benghazi to hurt Hillary. Instead of, if we'd actually studied it, just like we actually studied 9/11, instead of a lot of the 9/11 Commission just being what Bush and Cheney wanted it to be, so that they wouldn't get in trouble for ignoring repeated warnings, you know, mushroom cloud and all of that. I mean, this is the most obvious thing in the world if you looked at it and you knew the history and you knew that there had been some of these terrorists that had hijacked a plane earlier than that in North Africa, and their plan was to fly it into the Eiffel Tower. They weren't the first ones to come up with this. A guy had done it, you know, who was angry at the IRS, had flown it into a building in Austin, Texas, a small plane. Like, these things have happened. What's his name? The writer thought of it for one of his books. I can't think of him right now. You know what I'm talking about. The Jack Ryan character. I mean, one of his books is a Japanese pilot crashing a plane into the Capitol. Like, come on. You knew these things could happen. You just tried to lie and, you know, and retcon it all. And so again, the Benghazi thing for Hillary was all just about her. And the tragedy of all that is not just that they've used these things to elect right-wingers who are clowns, who are performers, who have no business being in office, who every time they come in harm our country, so that we, as I think Fugelsang said, he was on here, John, who's similar in age to me, said, my entire life has been about Republicans coming in office, screwing everything up, destroying things, and Democrats and having to come in and spend their entire term, instead of doing what they want to do, cleaning up the Republican mess, maybe adding a good policy or two here or there. Yeah. But that's a mess. But also, you learn from foreign policy tragedies. They've been trying to impeach Bill Clinton in '98 because they couldn't beat him at the ballot box. Maybe our intelligence forces and others who were seeing all of these signs of what was to come on 9/11, maybe would have been able to pay better attention. Certainly no Al Gore would have been paying more attention than George Bush. Could he have stopped it? Don't know. But he would have been trying more. He was more engaged in foreign policy. He wasn't just clearing brush on the old ranch. That Yankee had his mind. Bald Thanos. What are you willing to pay for it, dude? Make me an offer. All right. What else we got? All right. So let me be clear with everybody one more time. So, you know, these things ain't stopping. Regular videos, there's a schedule that I'll be putting out, but I've got a regular, you know, there are 4 mornings where the kind folks at Daily Coast put up our videos because they like them in their pundit roundup. It's 7 a.m. way too early. And Crooks and Liars posts them. So those 4 days a week, I have, sometimes they come from this show. Sometimes they're things I create my own, but 8-minute videos, 5 to 8-minute videos for you all. The other 3 days, they're probably going to be at 1 o'clock of the 3 days of the week. So you'll get this schedule, so you'll know when the content comes. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to always get these. These are going to be rebroadcast, probably somewhere around 6 o'clock at night, and the next morning at 9 a.m. And there'll be a short somewhere around 10 or 11. I haven't figured that out yet. So, I mean, numerous pieces of content and replays. And then the only days where it'll be new content that's not new, live streams, plus it'll be all videos and replays will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the days I don't do these. You'll get other replays of this stuff. I will cut out the interviews separately and give those to you as videos. The rants will be cut out and given separately, and then I'll create other content on my own. That's pretty much how we're going to do it. And then, you'll see on the basic, there's lower levels if you need it, but in the basic $5 a month level at Patreon and at YouTube, if you're a YouTube member, you're going to get two extra videos from me a week. And there's some other things. Now, there are some things that, I can curse. I can tell certain stories I can't tell on YouTube, on Patreon. So you're going to get more stuff at Patreon. And again, I've told you my feelings. That's a community. I don't have to worry about them shutting us down. So I love you all who are members at YouTube. please stay there. If it's that or nothing, absolutely stay there. And you'll see how it's going to change, because you'll get a letter, the same post that everybody who are Patreon members should be getting today, that you'll see today, that's been sent to you. You'll be getting something about how YouTube will be changing. It'll be a little bit different tomorrow. But I will make offers to coax as many of you as I can to go from YouTube over to Patreon, little discounts, other stuff. You're also, just for the same amount of money, going to get more stuff there, because I can give you more stuff there. Because again, we want an alternative. And then we start with the Substack, the written word. I haven't written a column for a while. I used to write one for the Daily Beast. I used to write one for the Guardian. I used to have a syndicated column in newspapers around the country. I miss it. Substack is another thing where you can collect people's emails. I can have a direct relationship with all of you, where there's a area where you can go back and forth with each other. So even though Patreon will be the main back and forth area, but you'll have it there, but I'll get your emails and we'll be in touch, and you'll get more good content there. So, Mr. WW, email, who reads your email? Well, I gotta be honest with you, a lot of people, or I wouldn't be sitting here, because the business that pays the bills is the email fundraising business for liberal causes and Democratic candidates. And I can tell you, as somebody who's got a very large email list, there are a lot of people who are opening that and are donating to good causes. So I guess not everybody reads their emails, but a hell of a lot of people do. Thank you, Jim Williams. Oop, I missed it. Sorry. Thank you for that. And Scarlett, even for just putting that up there. I missed the one I wanted to put up, that Jim put up. And I'll tell you, in the future, Jim, I don't know why I'm having trouble. I need to reach out to you with the email, and I'll explain sort of the newer priorities, how things are changing for a bit. But from now on, we'll share I would like you to share the Patreon and the YouTube separately. The YouTube will be for me encouraging you to go subscribe, because if that grows, that is still going to be the place where all my videos are going to be housed and where I'm going to post them first. And because it is the only real platform where you can be monetized and do that. And I'm going to put up content on the my wall, try to make a habit of doing that every 2 hours. I've gotten better. I'm putting up stuff every day, but it's probably more like, at this point, on average every 4 hours. That will change. So I want you to please subscribe, go over, do that. But for any new members, I'm going to try to encourage you to join at Patreon. You just will get more stuff, and we just will have a more interactive relationship. It is the better place to be. And I know everybody just paid. So if you do want to switch from YouTube over to Patreon, you have already paid. So the first month, you're not going to get hit with anything. What else? Oh my God, you just broke my heart. I don't have the bank for membership, but I love you and watch faithfully now. I have the Journey song stuck in my head. Well, Starlene, here's the thing. As I've said before, what I'm going to work on is we'll put together a fund that if our members are willing to, who are in better shape financially, are willing to meet me halfway, I'll provide half of it, and you guys together as a group provide the other half. And maybe we'll be able to put in a fund together so that we can help people that's one thing, that want to get to the basic $5 level. The basic $3 level, you won't have the videos and posts of mine, but you will be able to interact with everybody else. So you still will get something very good out of that. And at the $0 level, you still can join. You will be a member. But the way we'll do it is you'll have access. I think the way I decided it was, you'll have, instead of the 8 videos a month, I'll get you, to the $5 folks, I'll get you 1 video a month, or two videos a month. Yeah, that's what it was. It's 2 videos a month. And instead of the posts, like at least 4 days a week, 5 days a week, something like that, you'll get 1 post a week. You'll still get something for the $0 level, and we'll be a member. It's just, I have to give more to the folks who are allowing me to afford to do all of this. And as I told you, I'll give you this again. And I hope, I'm going to trust you guys to be honest. Because this is only for the basic $5 level. We're going to do this. Above that, where you get the really huge perks, that's going to be something people are going to have to do. But cs@blueampaction.com, because I gave you Cliff at blueampaction.com before. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. I make those mistakes sometimes. That is an email for anybody who cannot afford at least the $3 one, so you can see all the interactive posts. So and the $5 one where you can $3 one you can see some of them, $5 you can see all of them. As I said, 5 is the basic membership level, but $3 you can get most of them, or a lot of them. I shouldn't say most. Okay, I got to look at it. I'm sorry, but that's what we're looking at. So even you can join if you can afford $3 a month, then you will get, I believe, you'll get like some number of videos and posts that's in between, like what we're giving to the people who are 0 and what we're giving to the people who are for five. But you'll be able to interact with everybody else on there for 3, which is a pretty good gig. You'll be a key part of the community. So so that's what that's where you'll be. So at least well, you'll always be here no matter what, certainly. But again, for 0, you can be there and still have some of the other stuff. And hopefully we can get you to, if you can't afford anything, I'll ask people if they can even put $1 in a month to do it, or $1.50 or $2. But if they can't, then we'll try to get you up to, at the very least, the $3 level with a little bit of a community fund. And as I said, I will put half of Am I back? Have I made it back, folks? Am I here? I'm on my hotspot because the internet went down the building. This one was not on me, although it seems like something has to happen every time. We've had like massive snow here, as you probably know. So the snow has look at that. You figured that, Jim. Yeah, Jim's smart. See, guys, I can even figure out problems sometimes. I'm pretty proud of myself for this one. The way, Donald Trump is proud of himself when he goes wee wee in the toilet. No, I mean, seriously, I have to put it that way because it's pretty sad that I'm back on Twitch too. Good. Yeah. Hey, Aaron Duran, if you're on Twitch, like I need to up my Twitch crowd too. So any of you guys who've thought at all about subscribing on Twitch, or if you're or joining Twitch, not that I want you to not be subscribed on YouTube, but please do that. We're close to making the numbers there so that we can monetize Twitch, and that would be pretty cool and really helpful. But I don't think there was that much left to say. And is there? I think because we're almost at the point where we're done here. So I think, if I'm going on my I'm on my hotspot here, it may just end up crushing me. So in any case, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for putting up with the stupid hotspot thing here. And I will be back on Tuesday. Have a great long weekend. And, the sun sets slowly in the west. I bid you a fond farewell, guys.